Welcome to This Week in Brattleboro History,
produced by
the
Brattleboro Historical Society and
the Brattleboro Area Middle School.
In 1835, Jim Fisk was born in Pownall, Vermont. His father was a peddler. When Jim was 8 years old, his family moved to Brattleboro. His father sold household goods on the road, specializing in silk dresses and other products for farmers and their wives. Mr. Fisk was very successful and had up to 8 wagons on the road selling goods in Vermont, New Hampshire, eastern New York, western Massachusetts, and Connecticut. In 1849, Mr. Fisk built the Revere House on the southern corner of Elliott and Main Street.
At the age of 12, Jim Fisk dropped out of school. He worked for his father, serving as a waiter in the Revere House, and also tried his hand at the peddler trade.
When Jim was 15, he joined Van Amberg's circus and traveled from town to town. At 18, he returned to Brattleboro and entered into partnership with his father in the peddling business. Jim brought a circus-style flamboyance to the peddling profession, painting the wagons bright colors, wearing fancy suits, and selling things like circus ringmaster.
When Jim was 19, he married 15-year-old Lucy Moore of Brattleboro. After 5 years in the peddling business, Jim Fisk had become very successful and caught the eye of the Jordan Marsh Company of Boston. Jim and Lucy moved to Boston, and he began working for the retailer Jordan Marsh when he was 25.
When the Civil War started, he sold blankets to the Union Army for huge profits. He wined and dined government officials and gained large government contracts to provide clothing for the soldiers. Then he made large profits by illegally smuggling Southern cotton to New England mills during the war. He bribed railroad operators, ship owners, and government officials in order to break federal laws and transport the cotton to processing mills. The mills were controlled by the retailer Jordan Marsh and by Fisk himself. The Civil War made it very hard to find cotton goods in the North, and Fisk became a millionaire before the war ended in 1865.
After the war, at the age of 30, Fisk moved to New York City and became a stockbroker. He invested in the stock market, railroads, and steamboats. Through bribery and manipulation, he was also able to gain control of the Erie Railroad.
In 1869, he caused many people to lose a great deal of money. Jim Fisk and a business partner attempted to corner the gold market by bribing government officials, artificially raising gold prices by 30%, and then selling the gold before the market dropped. Over $500 million worth of gold was traded, and much of it was lost through speculation. It was reported that Fisk and his partner were able to make $11 million before the government stepped in and stopped Fisk's attempt to control the gold market.
While most of Fisk's money was gained by deceit and bribery, he was also known to donate large sums of money to needy causes. When the Great Chicago Fire happened in 1871, Jim Fisk led the New York City relief effort and sent trains of supplies to Chicago to help the city get back on its feet. The trains carried several $100,000 worth of provisions. Fisk wanted people to think that he was generous. He was also known to give large amounts of money to strangers in New York City streets.
Jim Fisk continued to live an exciting life in New York City, but in 1872 he was shot and killed by an ex-business partner.
It was a scandalous dispute concerning blackmail, bribery, and a woman. A popular song was written about Fisk after his death. Edward Stokes, the man who shot Fisk, was found guilty of manslaughter and served 4 years in prison.
Fisk's body was brought back to Brattleboro, and he was buried in the Prospect Hill Cemetery. The elaborate marble monument erected at the cemetery for Jim Fisk cost $30,000 and was created by Brattleboro's Larkin Mead. The monument features statues of 4 young women, each holding a representation of Fisk's financial empire, a stack of coins, railroad stocks, steamboat shares, and a theater emblem. A Fisk biographer wrote, "He never saw a more appropriate monument. Fisk had trouble with women all his life, so they put 4 of them over his grave to haunt him for eternity."
Go! Jubilee Jim, living life in style, from a peddler's son to a man so vile. With dreams so big, he reached for the sky, and his life was a circus, oh my, oh my.
Now let's take a trip back to 1835 in Powell, Vermont, where Jim Fisk came alive. Born on April Fool's, it's a story to tell. His dad was a peddler selling goods really well. Moved to Brattleboro when he was just 8. His father sold stoves. Ain't that just great? With 8 wagons rolling, they traveled the land, selling to farmers. Their goods were in demand.
At 12, he dropped school, joined his father's trade, worked at the Revere House where he got paid. At 15, the circus came rolling through town. He joined Van Amberg, sometimes a clown. Selling tickets, feeding lions, he learned to be bold. By 18, he was back with stories to be told. Partner with Pop's painted wagon so bright, living like a king, everything felt right.
Married Lucy Moore, just 15 years young. More scandal and affairs were soon to be sung. In Boston he hustled, selling goods in a flash. Then the Civil War, and he made a big stash.
Bye, Dad.
Sold blankets to the Union, made profits galore. Bribed the officials, he opened the door. Smuggling cotton, breaking the law. Fisk became a millionaire, oh what a draw. In New York City, he played with the stocks. Bought into railroads, sold cotton socks. But Black Friday came, the gold market crashed. Fisk and his partner, their fortune was dashed.
Though he gave to the needy, his methods were sly, a life of deception, always quick with a lie. Jim lived in the spotlight, but his darkness was near. In a love triangle, he faced his worst fear.
In 72, his life came to an end. Shot by a partner, no way to defend. Brought back to Brattleboro, buried with pride. A monument built where his legacy lies.
For a woman above him, forever they'll stand to haunt Jubilee Jim in his promised land. He lived like a prince, so that life was grand, but the price of his choices he couldn't withstand.
Jubilee Jim living life in style, from a peddler's son to a man so vile. With dreams so big he reached for the sky, but his life was a circus, oh my, oh my.
Please join us next week for another story from our community's past.